joined tonight by Tanya Lambert on the live stream. So, hi, Tanya, and welcome tonight. Now, I did move this from our regular Saturday night time slot to Sunday because I was doing some traveling, and I wasn't sure where I would be at the time that I would need to be online. So I could talk to you all. So I thought, given everything all considered, it would probably be better just to go ahead and have it tonight. And it does look like that. It did indeed work that way because at the time I should have been talking to y'all last night, I had no cell phone service. So sorry about that. If you have followed my saga up to date, then you know that I had to go out of town very, very suddenly on a trip that we weren't expecting because my daughter delivered a premature baby. An adorable, cute, sweet, lovable, awesome little 25-week baby that they call not just premature, but micro preemie because she's so small and she's adorable. And I'd really, really, really like to show her picture. Tanya says she loves my glasses, so yay! Tanya's got great taste. Now you should hop over to her channel and see some of the crafts and things she's doing. It's just, they're super. So thank you, Tanya, for the, like on my glasses there. And if y'all don't mind, do at some point give me a like on the live stream. That would be helpful. Lori says, hi, Gayle, and all. I'm on my phone because I can't get on my computer. I understand that. It's a challenge sometimes to get on the computer. So it can also be a challenge to get on the phone. So I'm just glad to see you. And yeah, I picked these glasses up. I saw them at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, those are just so stinking cute. I thought I would just go ahead and grab them. So, whoops, I'm hitting the wrong thing here. To make them. Okay, sorry about that. So, and Lori likes the glasses too, so thanks. I can't show a picture of the baby because YouTube's got some pretty tight things when it comes to pictures of minors and videos about minors. But I did link over in the community tab. There is a link for my Instagram account, and I do have a Instagram highlight up there. So yeah, that's the best I can do because I don't want YouTube to smack my hand and try to say that this content is for kids when it's not. Because y'all know how YouTube is, right? So nothing I can do about that. So I need to post a reminder over in the group, and I didn't remind Stellar Piper, and I should have, and I forgot. So let me see if I can get in touch with her real quick. And let's see, we have Busy Lady stopping in to say hi. So, hi, Busy Lady. How are you? I hope you are having a great weekend. She likes my glasses. Thank you. Thank you. I actually thought about you when I grabbed the pink ones. They also had some yellow and some bright blue and some other colors. We've got Peter Parker in tonight, I see. But yeah, Busy Lady came to mind when I grabbed the glasses. Now, I wonder why. Busy says she's fine. She's starting a new study at work tomorrow. So she's got to be up early. Okay. Well, I hope that goes well. Congrats on the new job there. And Busy Lady says, awesome. Yeah, I saw these and I was just like, that just makes me think of somebody. So, and that was you, of course. Let me see. I got a message Stellar here because I bet she forgot, given the different time slot, that she may be exhausted because, y'all, she was in New Mexico too. Peter's saying, I can see better with those glasses. No, I can't see better. In fact, they're a little limiting, but at least they're fun. I've got them on over my other glasses, though, see? That's okay. Did they have them in purple? I don't know. I don't think so. But now, this was the Dollar Tree out in New Mexico, so it could be different at other Dollar Trees. But if you find purple, let me know. So, yeah, I just messaged Stellar. I know. I should say the $1.25 tree. Because that's really what it is now. And that's actually what they call it in Canada. I wonder what they've gone up to now, though, in Canada. If it's like $1.50 tree or something. Who knows? Oh, we have Gloria in. So, hi, Gloria. See? It is not poker night, so you got to come tonight. Yeah, I noticed that, Busy. And I don't know how it is at the Dollar Trees by you, but here it's like they're trying to turn it into the like a low-end Family Dollar by throwing all that stuff in. I find it very confusing, so I haven't shopped there as much. Tanya says she thinks that her mom's getting tired of her stopping in the Dollar Tree when she's working and then putting on flowers and stuff in her van for her to bring home to me when on her way back to her house. I can understand that, I guess. Yeah, and Busy saying, right, got to pay attention to the sizes of things. Yeah, that's making a difference, definitely. It's just kind of confusing. Let's see. Gloria says, yay, no poker. Good deal. So we're glad to have you with us again. So that's nice. But yeah, Busy says she hates math. Oh, y'all know me in math. We just won't even go there. Because I know I'm legendary when it comes to math. And not in a good way, you know? Those numbers just all run together. So, yeah. You should have seen me trying to figure out how much the gas mileage was. I got to tell you, we all know that I had issues with a head injury, so thinking sometimes in a straight line doesn't always work for me. But you toss long COVID in on top of that, and oh my gosh, it just gets worse. So we are somewhere in, I think we're in Texas or Oklahoma, and I'm trying to figure out the gas mileage, and I'm like staring at the thing, and finally I'm just like, here, hubby, you figure it out. Which of course he did. It took him like 2 seconds. So Angel's Army is in. Hey, it has been a long time. Good to see you. I've been missing you too. I hope things are going well. I hope. And let's see, we've got Stellar Piper is here. So hi, everyone. And Busy says it's about time. Hey, but better late to the party than not at the party, right? So there you go. And Tanya says, I understand brain injury plus long COVID is confusing. Yes, it is. And it gets worse. So anyway, I actually get to see my neurologist on Thursday. So we're going to see if the neurologist has any great ideas. Who knows? It's one of those things, we'll check the box and we can at least say we've done it, right? I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it back in time, though, or not. And I really wasn't losing that much sleep over it, like none. And Busy Lady is saying that she thinks COVID messed her up too with lots of brain fog. I'm with you. I am absolutely with you. But fortunately, they say that, it's not going to last forever, at least in theory. So we've got to hold on to that. One thing else that I do have going on that I'm going to warn you about, just in case I start coughing, I've got my hot tea tonight, and that's because I am once again having asthma issues, and I kind of wonder if that's kicked up a little bit since the events of everything this past fall and this past winter and stuff, because it just seems to. Although my lungs do not react well to big changes in altitude, so the flying in the mountains and then the coming back down to lower levels and going back up to the mountains, not ever super good for me. Busy Lady says she feels bad for the lady training her tomorrow through the internet. Oh, is that because of the math? Yeah, it could be a lot at once for you plus stress. Stress? Me? Under stress? I am not just under it. I am on top of it and over it and all around it, right? Tanya says she lost some lung function due to long COVID, and they say it should heal slowly. I hope that they're wrong on that. I hope that it heals quickly. Yeah, Busy says, LOL, yes, you, I know. Yeah. I have, this past, like, from fall to now, has been an absolute roller coaster. And I have appreciated you guys for hanging in there with me big time, because I even wondered, like, I went back when I was doing the editing on some of the videos about the breast cancer scare, which actually came before, the virus struck me. And in those videos, there was a couple of them when I was like, I even mentioned, like, what's it doing to my immune system? And then after the incision opened, 2 weeks after that is when I got COVID. And I just have to, like, to me, the incision opening was this giant red flag that something was wrong with my body. So, what can I say? And yes, Busy had it too. She sure did. So, but it just seems that from, like, the breast cancer scare in the fall through COVID, coming out of that, doing the whole long COVID thing, which is still going on, and now this, it's just been like one roller coaster, and the service dog and things like that. Tanya, I don't know. We can send her a direct message too. Or Stellar, do you want to send her a direct message? See if everything's up with Laurel. Yeah, one thing after another for you, Gayle, but the service dog is so great. I know, I am so excited. We are in the 1 month window. I am so super stoked. Nervous, stoked, excited, freaking out just a little bit, and just all of that. And I gotta tell you, like, on this budget stuff, oh my gosh. Like, I've got a little video that I'm gonna put up probably as an Instagram reel. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I did put up one actually already on Instagram, so I guess this might be a YouTube Shorts or something. But we paid one tank of gas that we got yesterday was $95 for a stinking tank of gas. And I was like, about to die over that. So fortunately, the dog's already paid for, so I don't have that hanging over my head. And I've got some gas money put back, but I was just like, if I didn't have that, I would just be completely freaking out. And I already am a little bit freaked out because we hadn't planned on this little trip, but we've got to roll with the punches. Oh, good. Stellar message, Laurel, so I hope she joins us. I hope she does too. Hopefully. I need to get some input from you all too on future videos that you want to see. Because I kind of got off track on some of this stuff, and I want to get back on track. So with y'all's help, I hope to do that. So what I've got is a list that I cannot read. I have to take the glasses off for this. Woo! I don't know, I might put those back on. Okay, Busy Lady says, all we can do is roll with the punches and support each other. That makes a world of difference. Yes, it does. And I have to tell you all that through all of this, I don't know if I would have made it anyway near halfway sane with any of this that we've had, and without you all, because you've been a huge support. You have picked me up when I was down. You kicked my butt when I needed it. I got fussed at, supported, yelled at, applauded, and y'all are great. And this stuff with the baby, you've been awesome. And I have been really super impressed. I was telling somebody today, and the whole thing of just like getting there for my daughter, it was like God had all of the pieces in place, but we just didn't know it. And so there were so many things. Like, I think I told you about, like, I ran into Walgreens to try to talk them out of some of my prescriptions because I didn't have anything with me because I was 3 hours from home. But if I hadn't been where I was when I got the call, I could not have caught the plane. Stellar Piper got on the computer. Her husband got on the computer. My husband got on the computer. I was run into Walgreens, and they were looking for flights. I was trying to get medicines. I came back out. They always want you at the airport 2 hours ahead. I had just under 3 hours to catch the flight. Forget about 2 hours ahead of time at the airport. So that was all on my mind. We went flying through Walmart. And you know how hard it is to find things at Walmart? And it was like God was just throwing things at me in my size. And I was just ripping a few things off the rack here and there, and got to the airport. And they let my husband take me to the gate and like through TSA and everything. And, like only God is going to move the TSA to allow that to happen. Then they put me more forward of the plane than where my seat was, so I could get off the plane a little quicker, because with my leg brace, it takes me longer. And then when I got to Atlanta, okay, I didn't even know, and they didn't even know, but I wound up being on the same connecting flight as my daughter's in-laws. Who would have thought? And then I'm on this seat with like the nicest seatmate in the entire world. And we're talking, and I'm flipping through some of the photos because my daughter delivered by herself. She didn't know she was in labor. Her husband was out of state. All of her family was out of state. She couldn't get in touch with the friends that she had. So she wound up driving the hour plus to the hospital, got there 30 to 40 minutes before delivery. And when I say got there, I'm talking about she had to go through registration still. She had to go to L&D. She had to get triaged and all that stuff that you do before you're actually seen. So they had about 30 to 40 minutes to do that. But she drove herself to the hospital. And her husband actually came in about 40 minutes after I and his parents arrived. But I had this wonderful, wonderful seatmate. And she was like, how are you going to get to the hospital? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to Uber or take a cab or whatever. And she was like, that's going to take a while. And I'm like, hopefully there'll be one, like close to the airport. And she's like, I'll just take you. And by the way, she was a nurse who had done her training at that hospital. So she had her car waiting in the parking lot, and she zipped me over to the hospital so I could be with my daughter a little quicker. The in-laws got to wait on their son to come in, and they took him over because he'd also driven to the airport. So they had his car in the parking lot. Now, I was not able to get a rental car, which is why I was going to have to rely on Uber. But they drove on over to the hospital. They weren't able to get a hotel room, but I had a room. So they drove me from the hospital to the hotel, and my hotel had like 2 rooms left, and they were able to get one of them. So it was like God put all these little pieces in place, and then Stellar Piper and her husband came in the next day. And by that time, some of the rental cars had opened up, so they had a car. So it was just, and more things kept happening too. And it's just like, I'm going to shut up now. But anyway, so for those of you who didn't know what was going on, that's what was going on in the flying trip out to New Mexico. My husband was able to get coverage from work after a couple of days. So he came out, brought the RV out. So we had a place to stay other than the living room. So anyway, so that's just like kind of amazing how it all went. And, I really have to give God a lot of credit for like putting all the pieces in place and the right people in place, because like I have been to Walgreens 15 million times where the person behind the desk or counter there was like, okay, we'll get the medicines. Give us about half an hour, 45 minutes tomorrow. We'll get them, like when we get them, right? Y'all have had that happen too. Instead, I went in and I was like, okay, I was kind of like almost crying, okay, because I was like panicking a little bit. And she was like, I told her like what was going on because I was starting to cry. And she's like, we will do everything we can to help you. let me take this burden off of you. Don't worry about this for a few minutes. I'm going to do the best I can. And she wound up backwards through hoops doing somersaults. My insurance didn't want to cover everything because I just had some refills that were all 3 hours away at home. And she was like, I can sell you these medicines, but I'll have to put it on a discount card because I've already looked and that's going to be the cheapest way. And she was trying to save me money and stuff like that, and just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I do believe that like God put all of those people into place. And what are the odds that you're going to be on a random airplane seat with somebody who was a nurse, who knew where the hospital was, who had a car there, and was willing to just flat offer to take a stranger to anywhere, But I did promise that I was not a closet axe murderer. I did promise her that. So, all right. Let me flip on over to the chat room here. Okay. Okay, talking about COVID, busy, and her husband, yes. Whenever Candy is, one thing after another. The service dog is great. I get it. I have to be there June the 8th for class the next day. It's been a busy year. We're happy to have you and each other. I tell you what, this is an amazing group of people. You all rock it out of the ballpark. You have loved me so much, Lori Jean. I have really appreciated it. Tanya says, I'd love to do a video about the experience of gaining and getting used to a new service dog. Differences of a first versus a second dog. I'm going to write that down. I hope this service dog loves to travel. I am so worried about that. Okay. Differences in first and second. And I know we've talked about doing one about traveling with a service dog. And that's come up several times, so I'm going to do that too. Stellar says, sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but something always to learn. Lean on me, true. That is amazing. I'm agreeing. Busy says, no, but I'm kind of a Karen. People don't like to BS me. I can be a little obnoxious when I get BS'd. But yeah, and Busy says it gives her hope knowing there are still kind people out there. And yes, I saw that throughout this whole thing, and I was just, just amazed. And Stellar says they're still good people, but they're hard to find. They can be. I hope so too, Busy, because this poor dog, okay? So in, like, my whole summer plans are like, so get the dog in, well, let me back up a little bit. So I'm here now. There is a mandatory conference that I have to go through the first few days of June. I'm actually going to leave that early to go. That's in North Carolina. I'm going to leave that early to go to Kansas. I'm going to be in Kansas for a couple of weeks. Get back in late June. And then the original plan had been for me to go out to New Mexico to help my daughter get the nursery stuff set up, all those little, last minute things that you do where you rewash the clothes for the 20th time and fold them and put them away and things like that. And she has a farm, so, a few extra hands there. Not that I'm much help on a farm, but we were going to go out, take out the trailer and get set up. My husband was going to fly back out here because he couldn't take that much time off from work. I was going to stay out till mid-August where he was going to fly out. And we've changed that a little bit, but I'm still going to go out early in July. So here I am. I'm getting the service dog in June. I'm going to be home about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 or 3. I may push that back a little bit. And I'm going to drive out. And then my husband, when he gets time off, he's going to fly out. So I'm going to be in New Mexico probably about a month to 6 weeks to hopefully help her get set up when our baby gets to come home and, help her adjust and things like that. And then I think after all of this is done, I'm going to try to get away from the beach just for a night or so, which is still about 6 hours in the other direction. But we were able to take the trailer out last fall, and it was off season, which we're going to go off season again, but we paid like $18 a night. And I think at that point, it's going to be worth $18 a night just to have a night or two to just sit there and just decompress. So that's my plan. Peter Parker, no, I was not able to get it out yet. And that is because I kept getting the timing wrong whenever I finally found a post office. So it is going out tomorrow. And I will get that tracking number to you as soon as I get it out. But that's going to be going out tomorrow, I promise. So, hey, Valerie's in. So, hi, Valerie. How are you? So yeah, that's kind of my whole like summer thing going into fall. So I really hope this dog is going to travel. I kind of feel sorry for the dog because everything's all broken loose. But, and there again, we kind of have things that, through your all's help, I was able to have gas money put aside, which was a huge help. And I'm going to be able to, because some of y'all have been watching the YouTube videos and everything, which has been hugely helpful in donating. So I'm going to have just a touch extra gas money that I can put. Still have to do food. I mean, groceries home, groceries there. So it's not too much of a difference. Tony says if that's okay with Gayle, and then I'll ship any. Okay, I missed something. I'll ship them to any of you that want to buy one. Okay, Tanya says she doesn't have an online store. Busy, but she's been putting pictures of the things she's making on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, if you post to Gayle's group, if you post to my group, I'm actually created. I've got 2 sections. One section is strictly for links, so I'm asking people to put their links on this one section. That way people can go to that one section and see everybody's links. So I'm trying to get us all to do that. And I'm putting things up for like crafts and things that we're selling too, all on another link. So I'm not sure that I have that link up yet, but I'll get it up tonight. So that way, if you're selling something or whatever, then it can go on that specific link, and everyone will know to look right there to see what kind of things we're doing. Tanya says, but I've been keeping in contact with her vet. Okay, let me back up. Valerie says she's good, but she's tired. It's been a long weekend. I hear you. And Peter Parker says he's sleepy. So, sorry, Peter. Hi, Tanya. Tony says that Archer is going to be 5 in June. She's had him for 4 years. She's been keeping in contact with her vet. And because I lean on Archer so much, the vet wants to be cautious about not overstressing his joints. Makes sense. So he doesn't want him working past 8 or 9 because Archer is very large. He's over 109 pounds. That's really cool. But yeah, service dogs do age out. Now, we were lucky because Tomlin, most of the tasks that he did, he was able to do because some of them he was just going to do anyway. If I dropped something, he thought it was fetch. So he'd come running in and picking it up. So things like that he could still do. Retrieve, totally up to retrieve. So right. So some of the things that I want ideas about from you and input about videos that you want to see in live streams and so forth. Okay, Peter says good night, everyone. So good night, Peter. Thanks for coming in. I will have that out tomorrow, and I will message you the tracking number. Or not message you, but email you. I'll get the tracking number to you. Excuse me. So, all right. So I've got 4 things that have come up before and that's the $40 day trips. Now that's going to be interesting to do, given gas. But we're gonna. I think I can figure it out. Somebody contacted me. I made a comment on one of the live streams about the one thing that I had with me the other day that I needed for the trip was the TSA disability card. So they asked me if I would do a video talking more about the TSA card and how to get it, which was just really, really easy because you do it online. I thought I'd done that once before, but I didn't see it. So I'll do another thing about that because it did help. And Lola's in. So hi, Lola. Lost on land again. It's good to see you. It's been a while. So glad to see you. And let's see. Tanya says she's raising funds now because she needs more one-on-one training, plus the dog, and a trip to Texas for 3 weeks is $16K. I need much more one-on-one because she's now having seizures that are much different. And I was having, and some anxiety, has issues that are more autistic in nature, and CARES can't work on that one. So gotcha. Yeah. And you know, we could do a live stream or video sometime, Tanya, on like what agencies will train for. If you go through a private trainer, they'll pretty much train for anything you need. But agencies like to train for specific things and pretty much stick with those parameters. And let's see, Stellar's saying, Tanya, do your docs know why your seizures have changed? If they do, maybe they can come up with something there that can help. So, yeah. I put my wreath in the group for everyone, or can someone help me make a group? I think we can help you make a group. And again, once give me a little while after the live stream and I'll create that link. Because I think if we put it where everybody can see that specific link, then we'll know exactly where to look to see what anybody is selling, whether it's crafts or Scentsy or Pampered Chef or anything, just to make it a little easier. So let me do that. So definitely, Tanya's saying this is a private trainer. So yeah, private trainers, they'll train for anything, but agencies have certain things that they have to specialize in, and some will train for a wide variety and some won't. And Tanya's saying the brain damage caused the cerebral palsy, and there's part of the brain, it's not dead, but it's not working right. And they think that's the problem, is they can't do anything about it. Wow. Oh, Tanya, I'm sorry to hear about your black eye. That's rough. So, okay, so on the video list, I've also got, in addition to the TSA card and the $40 day trips, would you all be interested in like trip planning in general? And like when I look at a destination like Kansas, for example, in CARES, is it helpful for me to talk about like where I start when I'm planning it and kind of go through that whole process? Or what do you all think? Let me know, because I can certainly do that. That's when I know I'm going somewhere anyway. And somebody else mentioned the other day that they thought I should do something on coming up with a trip budget, specifically just the budget. So I can do that. Also, the van life and van life projects. So I've got a new washing machine, by the way, a small one, a really small one that I've got that I'm going to be putting in the van because of where we're redesigning it. I once again don't have as much space as I did. So I got another washing machine, testing that and doing a demo on that. So is that the kind of thing that's interesting to you all? Let me know what you think, okay? Because that will help. So I've got that in. I've got a toilet I can do a review on. I don't know if you guys are interested in a camping toilet review, but I can do that. I know the washer, I think that's going to be interesting to a lot of people because it applies not just to van life and travel, but people who are in an apartment or maybe not able to, you know, get out as much and stuff. They can use these little washing machines. In fact, I think my daughter may wind up with one of mine so that she can um, do baby clothes a little easier. Okay, how to fly as a disabled person. Definitely can do that. I actually had a conversation with somebody in the airport on that, and they also had a mobility disability. They commented on my leg brace and how we got started, and they didn't know about the different things that are in place that can help a person who has a disability to have a better experience flying. So definitely can do that. Okay, especially with things like braces, service dog, etc. Write that down. Okay. Yep. So I've got that down too. But yeah, it surprised me, and I also felt bad for them that they didn't know like what help was out there. So I hope they were on the first leg of their journey also. So I hope that conversation is going to help them for like the second part of their journey. So we could talk about that. How to fly as a disabled person might need to become a series. Okay. What about just traveling in general as a disabled person, like whether it's van life or an RV? It, is that helpful, do you think, at all? You know, like even hotels, like there's differences in accessible rooms and what they have and what they don't have in them, and differences in like campsites. They have, most places have handicapped campsites, but what can you do if those are filled? What other types of campsites might help? Okay, Laura Jean is saying she thinks it would be nice to see the whole process. Okay. And I'd love to do something with you on the channel too, Laura Jean, about your experiences raising somebody like with the van life experiences you had when they were young. And Tanya says, when you get your service dog, can you put little thought bubbles in your videos like you did with Tomlin? Those were terrific. I could try to. The Tomlin was such an expressive dog. It was like you could look at him and you just knew what he was thinking. So hopefully this dog will be just as expressive. And if he is, or she, then yeah, I can do the bubbles. It might take some time to get to know the dog a little bit too. Okay, Lori says, I'd love to hear you got a small washing machine. I'd love to see the RV inside and how you manage it. Okay. I can do the inside of the van too once we get this done again. Because there were, I'll tell you, there were some special considerations that I put in for when we were choosing the RV, and some special considerations for the van. Now, I am fortunate in that I can go up a couple of steps, but like even on choosing the RV, I had to be careful about what kind of steps, because some of them kind of give a little bit too much when you start to walk on them. So, you know, what kind of railing was there and things like that. Some thought I had to put into that. Tanya says a video on the different states that you've lived in and why each state was either your favorite or not. Okay. Now, I haven't lived in that many different states as an adult, but I can certainly do some that I've traveled in too. I'll tell you one thing I like though, as far as, between Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia, I really would have to pick Tennessee. I can tell you that off the top of my head because the taxes are so much less. We do have a pretty high state income tax, but we don't have, I'm sorry, we do have pretty high sales tax, but we do not have a state income tax like we do in North Carolina and like we do in Virginia. So, college is a non traditional student, okay? Would anything on how to choose where to travel be helpful? Because I know that like with me, hold on. I know that like with me, choosing like where I'm going on a trip in what season is very important to me because of heat related issues, blood sugar issues, walking issues, and things like that. Like, I am not going to go climb Mount Everest. I am sorry. But I might do a small hiking trail or something. Would that would that be helpful? And Lori Jean is saying, that's nice, showing traveling as a disabled person. Okay. And certainly the service dog is going to be a big part of that. And Lori Jean's saying that she used to be able to camp near the bathroom with her handicap plaque. Very helpful. Yeah. And she says she mostly drove at first and then they slept in the tent. Yeah, that was a lot. Ice blocks and whatnot constantly. Yeah. And Lori Jean says it did at night. I was afraid to go to the bathroom. And see, that's something. It's like we are taught from infancy as women to what? To be aware of dark places. And so you go to a campground the first time, or the first several times, and it's dark. And you're worried about like the boogeyman that mommy always warned us about and bears, or at least I was. That was just my little thing. But then I did it one time and I was, as Stellar can verify, addicted ever since. Okay. Tanya's saying, yeah, you could couple that with how to prepare for your trip once you've chosen it. Okay. Okay. Yes, I am planning on it, and I'll probably drive again. It works out. I like driving for like a million different reasons, but it also benefits the team a lot when I drive. I'm still responsible for like my travel costs, the same cost that like if the team pays $600 for a ticket or 900 or 1100 or whatever it is, I still have to pay that just like everybody else does. But then the team usually helps beyond that, but it's offset by the fact that unless they want to. They don't have to put baggage on the airplane. They can give it to me ahead of time and I'll drive it up. And like this last time, because I was driving, this person was like, hey, I'll buy all your food for the week. And all we had to do once we got up there was buy perishables. And the food prices in Alaska are a lot higher. Even the Walmarts are higher. So that was something else that they didn't have to pay for. And we had a lot of tools and things, and we didn't have to pay to ship those. And we had some gear that we had to have, and we didn't have to pay to ship those. And in fact, somebody came forward and they're like, hey, I'm going to buy all these work gloves for you to take with you, so you don't need to buy any of those. So it was those things. I think we estimated that even with helping me beyond the travel costs that I would have to pay, I think we estimated that with them helping me out on gas, they still saved around $1,500. So I'll probably drive again for that. So yeah, and if you're interested in a mission team trip, Valley, contact me. And Tanya says, this one may sound silly, but how to find out about a new issue health-wise without overloading yourself or panicking if you're diagnosed with something or someone you love is. Okay. I don't think that sounds silly. Because you're talking about, well, let me back up. Are you talking about how to find out about a new issue with health-wise without overloading yourself or handling the news? Which one speaks to you more? Because sometimes you're going to panic. I mean, it just kind of depends on the nature of the beast. Okay, Valerie's interested in the trip. Awesome. I think you'll have fun. And how do you research it? Okay. That might be a good one for overcoming the obstacles. I just had the experience on this trip too, where I was once again was really glad that I was set up for telehealth. Been set up for years. And when I started having problems with the asthma, I was like, oh no. So I was able to call and get help. So I think that's maybe worth talking about too again, maybe. Lori Jean says that she had bears, raccoons, and rattlesnakes. Yeah. Yeah, rattlesnakes are interesting. I went to a park with Stellar Piper when we were in New Mexico because it was her husband's first time in New Mexico, and I think it was the first time Stellar Piper had been there since she was like a little girl. But there was this nice little sign that said, be respectful of the rattlesnake's privacy and stay on the trails. I thought that was a good way to put it. So, okay. I don't think it sounds selfish at all, Tanya. I don't think it does at all. You know, because it's like you do have to go through the processing of the news. And when you're getting that kind of news about your friend, it's hard to process. So, yeah. Tanya says, oh my, yeah. I was at the Texas Welcome Center too a couple of years ago, and they had signs warning and whatnot. So, okay. So yeah. And she is saying, no, thank you. Bears record in rattlesnakes. Oh my. Yeah. And those are things that really you have to be aware of them because they are out there. And if I think you're going to get in more trouble if you're not aware of something than you are if you are aware. So, like, if you're aware, then you can talk to a park ranger and you can talk to people and find out, like, how to deal with that if something happens. Because I know, well, for example, when my husband and I were at the Arctic Circle, we were aware of grizzlies, so we knew to keep an eye out for them when we were at the Arctic Circle. Same thing about when we were at Denali National Park. You can pick blueberries in August. They're all over the ground, and you can pick wild blueberries just like you can, like blackberries if you're in the kind of the southeast, or huckleberries if you're in Montana. And as long as they're in season, you can go pick them. But those are things that the grizzlies like too. And so by being aware of it, then you could watch for it, and you could talk in advance to the park rangers and find out what to do. So yeah. Let me see. Oh, Gloria brought up solar oven cooking. Yeah, we can talk some more about that. Now, personally, me though, I don't do a lot of solar oven cooking. Like, I'm not going to cook a roast in a solar oven, but things like boiling water for ramen, or boiling water for tea, or instant soups, things like that. Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So solar oven. I actually do more of that for van life than I do anything else, just about. Where he says, yes, Gloria, I was always looking for solar. At times, I couldn't get the other men campers to tell me about generators that I needed so bad. Fortunately, some of that has changed, kind of as the world has changed, but we've still got a little ways to go on that. So, yeah, I think they're afraid we're going to, kind of show them up a little bit. And have you seen any of Lost on Land videos? She does a great job just really demonstrating what a woman can do out there. She's just great. So, but yeah, we can talk about it. And Valerie says she has a small solar generator. Those are awesome. Yeah, it's just like with me, we've got solar on the van too, and it makes me feel a lot more secure. Like, I know I can handle a storm as long as a tree doesn't fall on a van, So, yeah. How about you, Valerie? Is that kind of what led you to get the solar generator? And Lori says, we were walking down the road and had to wait until it passed hissing. Yeah, I would probably have frozen in my tracks on that one. I don't do well with snakes, just saying. Like, even like little black ones and the little green ones that are in the garden. Not a snake person. But now we have a member of our Bodacious community who is a snake person. And so, talk to Faye. She's phenomenal. Valerie says she got it for backup in case she lost power. We also have a small gas generator. Hugely helpful too, hugely. So Tanya says she would stay in a hotel and Archer would run away in fear. Running away in fear to me is a healthy response for a snake. Just saying. But you can check out Fairyana's blogs on some of the stuff she's done with snakes. Pretty impressive. The solar generator can run the refrigerator. That's hugely important because, like, I can remember when we lived near Eastern Carolina and we had hurricane come in and giant snowstorm and stuff. The first thing that you got nervous about was the refrigerator. And Lori wrote a screenplay about it. That's good. I'm glad you did that because I think that kind of thing needs to be out there. Have you seen Nomadland? I think is the name of the movie. Let me double check that. I don't want to say that now. It's also a book, but they did a movie out of it. Let's see. Yep, that's it. Frances McDormand. Phenomenal job. There were some things in that Like the ending, I wasn't really that great about it. But I think as far as portraying van life, I think they did a pretty accurate job. And I thought it was really cool to see a woman uh, having a solo van life adventure and kind of recreating her life after the death of her spouse. So it's also kind of a coming of age thing, if you will, as an older woman. So yeah, I was glad to see it. I think there needs to be more screenplays and things on that type of thing about how women handle life. And certainly that's part of what you're doing. So yay for you. And let's see. Lori said she needed more heat for the tent. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tornado season, you need a generator. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about feeling like I could handle storms as long as a tree didn't flop down on the van. So, yeah. Because things are going to happen. Our whole climate is just getting weirded out by who knows what, And we can argue. I believe that humans are contributing to climate change. Some people say it causes it. Some people say it doesn't. And I'm not going to argue either way. I just know that there are droughts in places that there didn't used to be droughts, and there's bigger storms, and the southeast is getting more storms and more tornadoes and bigger tornadoes. And so, yeah, I think Valerie was really, really smart too, to have both the gas generator and the solar generator. So we also have a small gas generator. Lori says she got good in the land after a year, which is good. I mean, I'm sorry you got used to it and had that experience. But I'm also glad that you're willing to share about that experience, because, I think you're going to help a lot of people. Like, I know a woman that lived in a tent for a little while on free federal service property because she was a victim of domestic violence, and she had to do that to be safe. For me, that was really scary to think of being out there in the woods by herself with just her kids being safer than living in a house with an abuser. Let that sink in. And Lori said, okay, I did. My son was more calm with the rattlesnake. I said, don't move. He said, I know, Mom, and he was 3. Kids are smart. I don't know what happens to some of us as we age, though. We kind of lose our brilliance a little bit sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Here in Missouri, a lot of times the tree has very shallow roots, and that causes problems. Yeah, I've seen that here in Tennessee. So, like I said, Bradford pears are beautiful, and I love them, but I would never have one in my yard again because the roots are shallow. And that's something else too about when you're traveling that you have to be aware of. And that is, what are the storms? What are the radio stations? Because I know we have weather.com and AccuWeather and all of these wonderful weather-related apps. That doesn't mean you're going to have cell service where you're traveling. So it's helpful to know, what are the radio stations, and to have some alternative communications available to you so you can tell which directions the storms are going. And I think, and this is just me, but I have found it also to be helpful to take the National Weather Service offers free storm spotting classes where you learn about the clouds and what they mean and what to watch for and how to spot rotation and wall clouds and things like that. And for me, that's been very helpful when traveling. So, and finding out about things like red flag warnings. I had never heard about a red flag warning until one of my first trips to Alaska, where we ran into fires. So things like that. I'm going to write that down too. I think it's good you're promoting the positive effects of being on the road. I think it needs to be done more. I think more people are wanting to travel and be on the road. And also, I kind of hate to say this, but I think there are some people that are being forced to be in vans and be in cars just because of financial situations. Lori says she sadly used candles. Whew, that's kind of dangerous. But I actually did one of the videos that I did on how to stay warm in the van was, does a terracotta heater work? And that uses candles for heat. And I was able to show through the video that, yes, it does work. But the downside is it costs a blooming fortune. And it takes forever. Okay, Stellar says, not just with traveling, storm spotting is a useful skill for anyone. And that's true. Do a travel prepare checklist and put the list in the description to put out. Okay. I actually have one of those that I use personally that I can probably do that pretty easily when I get the headspace to be able to sit down and do the tweaks. Because some of it is abbreviations that nobody else will be able to figure out. And it's different too, like if I'm taking a van trip versus an RV trip versus a flight, the checklists are different. This is neat stuff, guys. Okay. Okay. Valerie has checklists too. Good. Don't you think they're helpful? Now, Valerie's got experience in like traveling on cruises that I don't have. So, Valerie, your checklist for that is probably going to be even different. Because I know something that people have to do, and it's so frustrating these days. But something I had to add to the checklist a few years ago is you have to notify your credit card companies and your bank before you go out of town to do much traveling, or you'll go somewhere and you'll swipe your card and it won't work anymore. So, yeah. The things you learn the hard way sometimes. Life with this math disability that we share. Oh, yeah. Thank goodness for some apps. Because I tell you, the apps and websites have made it so much easier to travel when it comes to math. Lori says it's hard if they catch up with you with DV as I did. If he had to keep moving, he would hit the tent with something as heavy as a crowbar. Oh, lovely. The idea that you can be found in the woods is just scary. By an abuser. I mean, Claudia says, I've never even heard of it until I heard you say it, and I keep forgetting the word. But how many people's kids have it and they don't even know? Yeah, I didn't know until I was an adult. And everything just like fell into place. And learning how to deal with it and the tips and things that I learned just made a complete difference. I always thought I was an idiot at math. And I probably still am pretty close to it. But at least we were able to, when I got diagnosed, like we were able to find out that using a special kind of graph paper made a huge difference. And so did colored pencils. Who would think that those two things could make a huge difference? So, yeah. So, yeah. Awesome stuff, y'all. Thank you. So I will hop on some of this. Jewelry making, I think, was mentioned, by the way. Who said that? Anyway, I saw it. I thought I saw it. Maybe not. Let's scroll back up here. I see it. Tanya mentioned it. Okay. So I'll do that. I can talk about making jewelry on trips too. Now that's something that is kind of hard if you're flying. You've got to check your bag if you're going to have jewelry making stuff in it, because you can't take that through the TSA with your scissors and your wires and things like that. And I will tell you that the TSA gets kind of nervous if they see things with lots of wires attached. Just know that. And Lori Jean says, "Thanks, Stella. I feel proud. I can share the positivity, and of course the harder stuff that people need to know about that they have to decide upon." I agree. And I think that a lot of people's lives are enriched by your experience, which is really good. You know, again, bad that you went through it, but good that you're willing to talk about it and share it. She says, Lori Jean says, "It was dangerous, Gayle, to use candles. I made sure I stayed near them and put my son closer to the other side if it caught on fire, and they were short back candles in a jar." That makes sense. And that was one of the things too, like when I did the video on the terracotta heater, I had like everything that I could have right at my hand. I had water so I could douse the terracotta pot. You can't put that on wax because you'll have a problem, but you can douse the terracotta pot in water and help that way. And I had my 2 fire extinguishers both there. And I also, one little thing about me and the way my brain works, which it's a little screwy, but it even made a difference in my choice of fire extinguisher, because I just don't feel like if I had an emergency that I could remember everything that I had to do to work a fire extinguisher. And like I know, you do the fire, you grab the fire extinguisher, you lift up on the little handle, you pull the pin out, you lift up a little, and you spray. But I wound up getting just a spray can, a few spray cans of flame retardant, because I felt like with the way my mind worked, that's going to be easier and quicker for me to handle without having to think about it, because I know how to pick up an aerosol can and spray. So, oh, Tanya, you will not have any problems getting through the TSA with your metal braces. You'll just tell them and they will help you, because like, oh my gosh, they were amazing. And they have these program specialists, which are like TSA angels. Like, I swear, the sky parted and I heard the Hallelujah chorus when I found out about them. But yeah, they're amazing. Yeah. And Tanya's asking if Lori's written a book. I know you've done screenplays and stuff, and she does songs. She's a singer-songwriter. So yeah. And I'm also going to put jewelry and craft making on trips, because there are things that you can do, like Valerie with her knitting. That's something she can take on a trip and do. I've started doing crochet again, because that's something I can take that's portable. And I will say that having a granddaughter has made me get more interested in the crochet again. I'm still terrible at it, but eventually I'll get the hang of it again. maybe. So, yeah. All right, we all. This is great. You guys have been awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm going to see what of these I can put together and go from there. I'm also going to do the little thing on the gas and invite you all to share on the video. And it's probably just going to be a short, but invite you all to share, like, what do you do to save money at the gas pump? You know, what apps and things like that. Like, I just recently found out, if you're a AAA member, they have a AAA fuel rewards things, and you get a discount on your gas on Shell stations. It's not a huge gas, it's not a huge savings, but, like, you know, we need every penny we can get these days, you know. And we can talk about, like, how to stack discounts too, which can be helpful. Lori Jean says she did. One was fiction and while out there, and then a nonfiction later to some of it. Oh, and Valerie's saying she usually takes puzzle books on trips. They keep you busy in the airport and on planes. I did not think about puzzle books, but those are a great idea. I'm going to write that down too, because there's a couple of things that, you know, little books that I downloaded and things like that. So we could talk about things to do to stay busy. I'm a speaker, not a writer. Tanya, you can write it from the perspective as though you're speaking it. That might be an option. If that'll help. So, all right. So I've got that one down too. So thank you all for hanging out tonight. I've really appreciated it. And appreciate you hanging in there with me and, like, through all the craziness of life. So, I'm going, let's see, I try to keep this to an hour, and I think we're, like, a little bit past that. So thank you for, again, hanging out with me. And I'll have a couple of videos up this week. Like I said, one of them is going to be a shorts, and we'll just kind of go from there. Saturday, the live stream, I'm planning on it being on Saturday. I am not sure how I'm going to do live streams when I'm in Kansas, because I'm not really sure, like, what the class schedule is. And Tanya, if you could help me out with that, like, is it the whole 10 days, or, like, how did they do that? So I got to figure out, you know, how that's going to come in. Let's see. Tanya says, I'll talk to you more about it than Gayle, because I'm afraid of going to the airport. And when the dog gets closer to being trained, she wants me to spend a week or two during the training with him as well. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I can understand that. So anyway, so that's what I'm looking at this week. I'll try to get a couple of videos out, and yeah, do the live stream Saturday this time. So thanks. Y'all go and have a great week. And remember, it is always #be Bodacious, which means you're not going to let life get in the way of living, even though it gets a little crazy sometimes. So thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.